Hey everybody, this is Dominic DeAngelo of WrestleZone.com. Today's date is June 8th, 2021. This is a very special episode of two Dynamite Dudes With Attitude. Now, my degenerate brother Marcus is in here, but I have an even better guest. It is none other than Danny Limelight. Danny, thanks for joining me today.
Mi gente, what up? What up? Tell your degenerate partner he's a loser for not being here for this one.
You know I can't wait to tell him that.
Everybody watching at home, thanks for watching. I appreciate you having me on the show. It's going to be great. It's going to be lit. Let's do it, baby. Let's rock and roll.
Heck yeah, man. So talking about lit, we were just mentioning, the live crowd being back, and you kicked off actually Evil Uno's singles competition with AEW on Elevation and everything. Talk about having not only that experience of wrestling in front of a live crowd, but wrestling Evil Uno for the first. Is that your first time ever wrestling him too?
Well, we Evil Uno, first of all, shout out to Evil Uno. Crazy competitive, super underrated. Dude is awesome. I'm glad that I got to be his first ever one-on-one match in AEW. And what better time to do it than Monday Night Limelight, you know what I'm saying? On Monday Night Elevation. And I've wrestled Evil Uno before, but it was in like a 5-man scramble, like a 5-on-5 back a couple months ago. It was the Dark Order versus me and a few other guys and stuff like that.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And we barely touched. We got to do a couple things and stuff like that. But this time it was just me and him, and little -1 out there. Shout out to -1. And it was great, man. I had so much fun. The crowd, shout out to the crazy fans of AEW. Oh my God, you guys made it so much fun. It was dope. I felt the energy as soon as my music hit. And from then on, it was war. It's all respect to Evil Uno, you know what I'm saying? But it was a war going into the match. I wanted to come out on top, and the energy from the crowd was awesome, and it made me want to work harder,
Yeah. Now, was that your first time being back in front of like a big crowd like that in comparison?
Yeah, man. That was the biggest crowd I ever wrestled in front of, minus wrestling at the Crash in Tijuana, Mexico, in front of 5,000 a few years ago. That card was crazy. It had Rey Mysterio on it. It had Hijo de Santo, Hijo de Santo was there. Lince Dorado was there before he got signed by WWE. Phoenix, Penta. Shout out to Phoenix and Penta. Check out their new store. You know what I'm saying? Mass Republic out here in LA. It was a huge card. I opened the show. Me and Douglas James, we opened the show. We had 10 minutes. Conan was the one that brought us out there. Whoa. So it was so dope. It was 5,000 people screaming. But this was the first time that I wrestled on television, on TV, in front of a huge crowd. I don't even know what the numbers were, but it was just, oh man, it was so awesome.
Yeah, no, that element of, like, I mentioned it off the air, was like those people on stage and everything like that. It created such like almost a unique, and you always see like the old WWE footage of when they wrestled in Madison Square Garden, like the old pay-per-views and stuff like that, and how unique of a vibe that gives off. Like, this is kind of setting its own tone for Daly's Place, and Daly Place, let alone just even without the crowd on the stage, is a unique element. Just the outside and the beautiful scene, like landscape going on and stuff. It creates a pretty damn cool atmosphere to wrestle.
Yeah, definitely. Daly's Place is awesome, man. Thanks to everybody for hosting us there and having us at their place for so long, man. It's a cool environment. I like the way it was set up with the crowd on the stand where the stage is usually at, and the arena was packed, and you get the little sunset over the side. Right. Like, it was a vibe, man. It was a perfect day for wrestling. The weather was great, it was awesome, man. It was an awesome experience. I'm super grateful for it. I had so much fun.
Now, so when I was sitting there for Double or Nothing, part of the funny thing was, like, the sun was setting, and it was Serena Deeb wrestling Rio, and the sun was just right blasting in our faces. Did you ever have that issue, like, while wrestling any of the Elevation tapings or anything?
Fortunately, I have never had that issue. But if you want to bring up Serena Deeb, I believe she stole the show before the show even started.
Right?
Awesome. Shout out to Serena Deeb, man. She's probably the best female wrestler right now, in my opinion.
It's her and Thunder Rosa, man, have just been lighting up everything on. They've been setting the bar.
Another one of my friends. Thunder Rosa is awesome too, man. She's killing it. Well,
have you gotten a chance to check out any of the Mission Pro Wrestling stuff that's been going on down there?
I have not. I haven't been paying much attention to the indies. I see a couple things on Twitter. I see GCW doing big things. FSW is doing big things, which I don't know when this is gonna air, but I'll be at FSW in Vegas June 18th and 19th for the anniversary show, double nights. I'll be there both nights. I'll be entering the 30-man Rumble, and I'll be wrestling Ice Williams for the No Limits Championship the next day. So shout out to FSW.
Heck yeah.
I haven't really been paying attention to the indies, man. I just been focused on, AEW, been focused on New Japan Strong, killing it over there at New Japan. And I just been grinding on TV, baby. You know how we do.
Yep. So, yeah, watched your previous interview of you talking about balancing out New Japan and AEW. What's some stark differences that come into play when you're wrestling in New Japan in comparison for AEW and stuff? Is there certain ones that kind of stand out more than the others?
I think the most obvious one is that in New Japan Strong, I'm part of Team Filthy. I'm the Filthy Papi.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a heel there. In my opinion, and I know many people will agree, is that Team Filthy is the hottest thing on New Japan Strong right now. Me, Tom Lawler, Kratos, shout out to the three of us. We're killing it as a group. And so the way I am at New Japan is so different. And then when you tune into AEW and you see me as the super baby face radioactive Papi, and I'm in there with, Kenny Omega or John Moxley or, anybody else that they put me in the ring with, it's a different kind of match, a different kind of environment, different kind of mood. And it's awesome. And then if you want to talk about more TV, we talk about the United Wrestling Network. Championship wrestler from Hollywood. I'm the tag champion there with Papo Esco. Shout out to my tag partner, Papo Esco. Shout out to Slice Boogie, another member of the Bodega, and there we kind of like walk that fine line of being bad guys and good guys. We do whatever the hell we want. We run the show and we have a good time, representing for Puerto Rico, representing for, New York City, representing for the Latinos everywhere. I think that's what it's about. So when people are watching me on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday with AEW, or they're watching me on Friday with New Japan, or they're watching me on Saturday with United Wrestling, like, I'm on TV almost 5 times a week with 3 different companies, and it's been awesome, man.
Yeah, man. Dream. I was hearing too. You mentioned in another interview. This is like the most money you've made, like, right?
Yes.
How has that kind of been feeling? Like getting that, not necessarily that you're entering a comfort zone, but more so like that sense of security where it's like, okay, I'm doing good, and things are starting to roll here. Has that been kind of even more of a motivator for you, or?
Oh, yeah, 1,000%. With that mindset. Like, I come from nothing. I was a street rat kid from Brooklyn, New York. It's nothing against my parents, but, my dad was a dope dealer. I say it all the time. I'm proud of it. What he did and how he raised me made me who I am. It carved who I am. So, and so coming from nothing and just grinding so hard, doing 10 years in the Marine Corps and living paycheck to paycheck because I was done with my money, didn't really save much. And then coming out and, it'll be 2 years in October since I got out of the Marine Corps. But last year alone, I made more money in my first year of wrestling, really just focused on wrestling. I made more money than I ever did in the Marine Corps,
Yeah.
And this year, 2021, I've already matched that, So like, it's been, and I'm not trying to humble brag, but what I'm trying to do is talk about how breaking generational cycles, generational wealth, like shit like that, creating generational wealth. I have a little girl. She's 7 years old. That's my pride and joy. That's my little baby, my Khaleesi. Khaleesi, I love you 3,000. And you want to talk about creating generational wealth and breaking cycles? My daughter made $25,000 last year.
Wow.
Herself, doing commercials and short independent films.
No
That's
way.
The type of example that I'm trying to set. Yeah, my daughter has to freaking pay taxes, man. Jeez. To me, it's like I set the bar. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my dad set the bar. I passed him, and he'll say it loud and proud. You accomplished more than I ever would have in life. Yeah. And now my daughter at 7 years old, she has more money in her bank account than I did after 10 years in the Marine Corps. Isn't that crazy?
That's wild, dude.
7 years old. So by the time she's my age, hopefully she's a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? So that's why to me it's important to talk about, financial stuff, like talking about like grinding it. And man, because I work my ass off. I put my body on the line every week. I go out there, I try to steal the show. And a lot of the times I feel like I have the best match on the card. And, the money is, yes, it's the icing on the cake.
Sure.
Because I get to do what I want for a living. It doesn't feel like a job. You know what I'm saying? I'm having fun. The AEW crew is amazing. The New Japan crew is amazing. The atmosphere is amazing. I love working. I love the freaking fans. You guys are amazing. I love meeting y'all like this. And then the money that helps me, gives me more motivation to grind. And then my daughter's watching me on TV. She points at the TV and says, "Daddy's on TV." And it's like, that's what I'm talking about. And then the commercial hits and she's on TV. So it's like,
yeah,
it's crazy, but that's what it's about, man.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm very fascinated by your time in the Marine Corps and everything. How in 10 years, I did not know you were there that long. Talk about getting it. What was a big motivator for you to get in the Marines? And then how has that kind of shaped you? As I'm sure that taught you so much structure in like how to balance life and everything in that regard.
Definitely. I joined the Marine Corps. I was 17 years old. I was a street rat kid doing street rat kid things. I had no plans. I wanted to be a wrestler when I was a kid. My teachers told me I couldn't. It wasn't a real job. I'm sorry, Mrs. Bianculli, Mrs. Dash, Miss Boxer.
All about.
Yeah, Mr. I can't remember his name. He was a douchebag math teacher. You know, like, I'm sorry, you said I couldn't do this for a living, and now look at me. You know what I'm saying? Like, but so that kind of crushed my dreams. And I had no direction. You know, I never wanted to go to college. I didn't, you know, it wasn't like I was gonna go be a psych major or anything like that. You know, I didn't have that in me. But I played baseball and I boxed. Like, that's what I did.
Yeah.
Baseball became my passion. I wanted to play shortstop for the New York Yankees, you know, but it just didn't work out. I ended up getting kicked out of 2 high schools. So by the time I was in my senior year, I was in my 3rd high school, and they just didn't have room for me on the baseball team, which is completely understandable. I did it to myself, right? So at 17 years old, I met a kid who told me he'd buy me a slice of pizza if I went with him to a recruiting station. And at the time, I was like, fuck, pizza sounds great. You know, I had nothing better to do. So we went. I never ended up getting my pizza, by the way. I ended up walking into this office, and this Marine Corps staff sergeant in his dress blues looks at me, you know, and I had my pants sagging or whatever. And he's like, nah, you can't be a Marine. Go see the Army. And that shit, like, I was like, fine, you know, and I started walking to the Army. But mind you, why am I walking to the Army? I never wanted to be in the military, but because this Marine told me to do it, I'm here following orders now, right?
Yeah.
So I started walking to the Army recruiting station, and I'm not trying to take a shot at the Army, but the Marine Corps is the best branch in the military. And this Army soldier comes out of the office, and he has his hand in his pocket and a cigarette in his mouth. And I just see this, and I'm just like, this is what the Marine Corps recruiter sees when he looks at me. Somebody's gonna walk around with his hand in his pocket with a cigarette in his mouth. I never smoked a cigarette in my life. So I turned back around and I walked in the Marine Corps recruiting station. And to everybody that listened to my interview with Paul White on AEW's Rising Star and Elevation, you heard this story.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Thank you for listening again. But I walked back in. I told him I'm going to be a Marine. So I joined the Marine Corps. I did 10 years. I was a staff sergeant. I was a Marine Corps drone instructor. I made over 350 Marines. I was a Marine Corps martial arts instructor, 1st degree black belt, taught over 400 something Marines, the Marine Corps martial arts program. Traveled the world, did humanitarian missions in Japan for Operation Tamagotchi in 2011. Did a lot of things, and a lot of things that I'm proud of. You know, I met my daughter's mom in the Marine Corps, and, you know, I had my daughter, and Marine Corps set me up for success, man. It gave me the discipline, the physical endurance, the strength, the stamina, the courage, you know, all that discipline that was needed. And that transitioned into wrestling, you know, like the physical fitness side of wrestling, that was easy for me because the Marine Corps, we were doing crazy stuff for training anyways, you know?
Yeah, right.
But it was, you know, a transition that nevertheless was a little rocky for me in the sense that I came in there cocky and confident because I had so much life experience and I had done so much in life already that I felt like I knew it all. So, you know, it was a little hard at first to get going in wrestling. And then once things took off, man, there was no turning back.
Yeah. It's something that I have like an older friend. He was in Vietnam and he was part of the Marine Corps. And he was saying, like, I mean, just the personality and how he handles himself. It's like, you can tell, like, it leveled him out for the rest of his life, where it like put him in a good spot mindset, like in a positive mindset of how to handle people and deal with people and just like tough situations. And I'm sure like you can speak to that from not only being in wrestling, but like not only from your upbringing as a kid too. It's like, there's a lot that comes with being a Marine. And I think that just sets a good base for everybody, you know?
You're absolutely correct, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So what I wanted to get at too, you mentioned in a previous interview about, the agents that you get to work with on Dark. Jerry Lynn was a big name you mentioned.
Yeah.
I love Jerry Lynn. So talk about working with him. What has he kind of helped you out with in a lot, in not only your in-ring repertoire, but just how you handle your presence in the ring at the moment?
Jerry, first of all, man, I love you, Jerry. If you hear this, you're the man. We have a cool little handshake. Every time I see Jerry, you know, I see him, he sees me, we have a big smile. We come up, we give each other three handshakes, and then we do my little dance, and you can see Jerry, he'll call me boom, boom, and then he do the little dance or whatever. And he lights up the room, man. And Jerry's awesome. He's helped me so much as far as match structuring, where to put certain things, you know, what would make sense, what not, coming up with certain kind of counters or finishes. He's great, man. I would ask him questions. I'd ask him to watch my matches. He'd watch it. So shout out to Jerry. I learned a lot from Dean Malenko as well.
Yeah.
Man of 1,000 holes. Shout out to Dean Malenko. And he's also one of the funniest guys I've ever met in my life.
Oh, yeah.
I did not, you know, you see him as the Iceman on TV.
Right.
Stone Cold Killer look.
Uh-huh.
You meet him and you're like intimidated by him. And then all of a sudden he's, you know, I'll never forget. We were eating one time and the vegetables they had was cauliflower.
Yeah.
He picks up the cauliflower and he puts it in his ear and he said, "Hey, Limelight, I have cauliflower ears." And it popped. It was the corniest dad joke in the world, but it popped me so hard. And I was like, I had tears and I had to tell somebody else, "Yo, come here. Yo, Dean, do it again, Dean." Because it was funny to me, man. Like, but I learned a lot from him. There's times where I'd come up with a cool submission and I'm like, "Hey, Dean, can you watch this? Let me know what you think." And he'll be like, thumbs up or thumbs down, you know? And if there's anybody that's going to know more or less if it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down, it's the man of 1,000 holds, you know? So Dean is great. BJ helps a lot. Christopher Daniels, another one that really helped me a lot with match structuring and putting things here and there, taking things out. Less is more kind of idea. Just so many great locker room leaders, so many great wrestlers from past and present in AEW and even in New Japan. If you think about New Japan, like there's so many, you know, Rocky Romero, Fred Rosser. There's just so many, you know, so much talent there at New Japan and AEW that people want to see you succeed. And they want you to do good. And so that to me is important. Even though Rocky Romero sucks, in my opinion, I stand him, you know what I'm saying? He still has a brain. I see what he does for a lot of people. You know, he's like, I like to consider him like the uncle of professional wrestling in SoCal for sure, you know? Right. So he's somebody that's helped me when I first got to New Japan before I turned on him because he deserved it. And you know, just the other guys at AEW that I talked about before, man, it's great. I've been very blessed to be able to work with some of the best wrestlers in the world, past, present, and future. You know, whether I'm in the ring with Kenny Omega or Jon Moxley, two of the best wrestlers in the world, you know, or I'm in the ring with someone like, you know, let's say someone new on New Japan. If I'm wrestling, you know, the West Coast Wrestling Crew, the West Coast
Wrecking Crew, yeah,
they're coming up. If I wrestle them, that'll be fun, you know. Or you know, you see Adrian Quest. There's Will All Day, that's, you know, who's been on Dark a few times, you know, like there's so much talent coming up right now, and there's so much talent that is in their prime, and then there's so much more talent that's you know, the past, and you're just learning from all these people, and you're just watching so much wrestling, you're seeing so much stuff happening, and it just motivates you to work hard and grind harder, and you know that you're going to be okay, because if you have a question, there's somebody, whether you throw a rock in the air, you're going to hit 6 or 7 people immediately that can give you the answer to the question.
Exactly, man. And I think that's such a cool aspect of AEW and what they have, like, because you have all those different mindsets from different backgrounds, but in different eras. And I think what's so beneficial to you guys is having that, not only to how to work in the ring, but just like knowing how to handle yourself in situations like whether it's wrestling, politics, and sure anything like that going on. Like you can really get information from veterans that have been there and done all that stuff and had to weather those storms or whatever it may be. What I wanted to ask too was, just being from Brooklyn in general, how has that, like, you're a Yankees fan too. So you're actually, I think you're the third Yankees wrestling fan Yankees fan that's a wrestler that I've interviewed. So
really?
It was been you, Mike Verna, Richard Holiday.
Oh, yeah, I love Mike Verna.
Mike Verna. Yeah. He was great, man. He talked about being in baseball and all that stuff too. Who are some of your favorite Yankees?
Jeter.
Yep.
Bernie Williams.
Bernie,
Tino
man.
Martinez, Paul O'Neill.
Yeah, Tino was my guy.
Who else is Alfonso Soriano, Hideki Matsui, Gary Sheffield, Mike Messina, freaking Roger Clemens, you know, Andy Pettit, Jorge Posada. I can name mostly all the Yankees from back in the day, you know, like we could talk about when Johnny Damon came over. We talk Carlos Beltran was there. We could talk about, you know, Jason Giambi when he was on the Yankees, you know. I just love the Yankees, man. I'm a Knicks fan too. We made the playoffs this year. We got eliminated, but we did it for the first time in 8 years. And I'm a New York Giants. I'm a New York team. Any New York team, I fucks with, you know, like right now I'm rooting for the Brooklyn Nets right now because they're in Brooklyn now, you know, even though they're New Jersey transplants, but you know, we're in the playoffs, we're doing good. We're probably going to win the championship. So shout out to Brooklyn. Yankees, you know, and Mike Verna, I know he's a Yankee fan. I'm pretty sure he's a Knicks fan too. I'm not sure.
I know he's a Mets fan too.
He's a Mets fan
as
well.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure about the Knicks. But he's a great guy. He needs to come back to AEW. It'll be cool to see him there again. He's awesome.
Yeah, it's such a great dynamic because you see that's the neat thing about AEW is you get all that rotation of folks coming in and some more of the permanent stays, like kind of what you've been for the most part in AEW on Dark and Elevation. So yeah, it's been very cool. Also what I wanted to talk about was obviously you're you're a big Spider-Man fan. Talk about how did you get into comics? Was that a big thing for you as a kid? And what's been your favorite Spider-Man movie so far? Or who's been your favorite Spider-Man?
Tom Holland's my favorite Spider-Man.
Yeah, you can't be. I agree, dude.
I'm probably gonna get a lot of heat for that online. Everybody say Tobey Maguire or whatever, but to me, it's Tom. He's done the most movies of Spider-Man. He's done a great job. Comics was my thing growing up. You know, my dad would bring home comic books for me to read and stuff like that, and you know, I loved the animated series on Fox back in the day. And I'm excited for this new Spider-Man movie that's coming out. You know, No Way Home. And it's supposed to have Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. You know, it's supposed to be the whole multiverse thing. So that's pretty cool. And for people that watch what I do in the ring, like a lot of it is inspired by Spider-Man. The way I move, the way I walk the ropes, the way I fly, the way I jump. Like I'm very innovative. I'm very creative. But a lot of it is from watching Spider-Man and reading comics and seeing how he moves his body and, you know, the charisma. And like, Spider-Man is a very charismatic dude. And so a lot of that stuff I put into it, you know, the radioactive poppy. People that don't know, radioactive, that's from
radioactive Spider-Man.
Hit by a radioactive spider, you know. So and my like logo it's a limelight. It's like my tattoo is a lime and a light bulb, but then it has spider legs coming out of it. And a lot of people see it and then they put two and two together, like, oh shit, like that's pretty cool, you know. But yeah, I just you know, I'm a firm believer with great power comes great responsibility. You know, those are the words that Uncle Ben told Peter Parker before he passed. And I'm a firm believer that Spider-Man is a team leader. He's a natural leader. He's an honorary Avenger. He's an honorary X-Men member. He's an honorary Fantastic Four member. He led the Secret Wars in the comic books. Like he's just always going to do the right thing. He's always going to put everybody else's well-being before his. And that's why I respect and admire him the most. And, you know, I dress up as Spider-Man. I haven't in a while because of the pandemic. But before that, I used to go to children's hospitals and visit kids. I used to go to elementary school and read books to the kids in my spider suits. I got 4 studio-made suits in my closet.
No shit.
6 suits, yeah. I don't talk about it that much because it's something that I just do to do it, you know.
Just to do it, yeah. That's great. That's great.
And yeah, because you know, you see online, you see all the fat Spider-Man, and I'm not body shaming, but you see the Spider-Mans that don't move like Spider-Man, you know, like they can't do flips or they can't, you know. So I always told myself that if I'm going to put the suit on, I want to be one of the guys that when I show up, I could do a flip for a kid, or I can, you know, run off the wall and do a backflip off. You know what I'm saying? Just like, you know, I remember one time I was walking around in my suit. I went to, they had like a street fair and there was gonna be like a lot of kids there. So I wanted to like go and like do like a little thing for the kids. I remember this one kid, he had to be like a teenager, probably like in high school for sure. And you know, the kids are kids, they're gonna test you and see. I'm like, you're like Spider-Man, you can't even do a backflip. Mind you, like I'm outside, it's concrete floor, and the mask is like sometimes hard to see. And I'm sitting there, and like everybody's like there, like, oh, you know, and I'm like, fuck, now you put me on the spot, and if I don't do a flip, you know, they're gonna clown me, and if I bust my ass, they're gonna clown me. So I was like, all right. So I do a backflip, and like I land like a superhero landing, and he popped, and everybody popped, and then he left me alone. But this could be me, you know, but. I do it for the younger kids, you know, ages like 8 and under. They're the ones that really are into the whole Spider-Man thing. My daughter used to go to school and tell her friends that her dad was Spider-Man, and it's just awesome, man.
That's got to be a good feeling. And you know what? Like as a kid too, I remember like, you know, seeing like guys dressed as Batman or whatever, and that would pop me huge. So if you see like an athletic Spider-Man that can do a fucking backflip and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like,
and the suit,
that gets you,
I'm not wearing like no Party City Halloween costume. I'm wearing like studio made, legit, you know, like, so it looks sick. I move like it. And one time there was this guy that was like playing a guitar, and like he started following me around and was like playing the Spider-Man with the guitar, like, and like I'll take pictures with people and sometimes they'll tip me, but I'm not like on Hollywood Boulevard doing it for tips, you know, like they just randomly do it. And so he followed me for like blocks playing the song, and I was like, I don't know. I just gave him all the money that I made from tips. Like I gave it. It was probably like $20-something. Like, here, bro, thanks for playing the music. Like kept me freaking motivated, you know. But it was, you know, it's fun. People like stuff like that, you know, and it just feels good to kind of be like, I don't know, a symbol of like hope or hero.
Open optimism,
Yeah, positivity, man. Like I'm big on that. I remember when I was growing up, we didn't have shit like that in the streets. So it's kind of cool to do that for people.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, okay, we'll close it with some of this. 2021, what's some of your primary goals here in 2021?
Man, my goal was to become a household name, sign a major contract, do my thing, and everything's been going great. I have no complaints of where my career is at right now. I'm loving life. I just want to continue to have fun, continue to build my brand, continue to do my thing, and to entertain the fans and to set the example for my daughter. That's all I can ask for.
That's great goals to have. And do you kind of feel currently too? Do you like that kind of balance of life where it's like you're not really signed by anybody, but you have all this stuff coming into play? Is that kind of a good vibe overall for you, or would you ultimately like?
I'm in a great spot, man. I'm in a great spot. That's all I can say. I'm in a great spot. I don't want to talk about anything else. Just I'm in a great spot.
That's great, brother. That's great. Cool. Okay. One last thing. So this is what I've been doing. I haven't formulated a playlist yet, and I keep telling wrestlers that like I'm going to do it. But what I've been collecting is at the end of each interview, I ask a wrestler, okay, if you're going to do a workout in, you're going to get a workout in, pick any 3 songs. Now it can be all time, any all time or ones you're currently jamming to. What 3 songs are you going to put on that playlist starting off?
Juicy with by Notorious B.I.G.
Oh, nice.
Vivid Mi Vida by Mark Anthony.
All right. Nice.
And Whoop-Dee by CJ.
All right. That's a good mix right there.
Those would be the top 3 that I play. Or maybe Wants and Needs with Drake and Lil Baby. I like that one too.
Ooh, I'll add those ones too.
Yeah, those kind of get me hype in the gym. Yeah. Those get me hype.
Heck yeah, man. All right, cool. Anything you want to plug in general?
Yeah, man. First of all, thank you for having me on the podcast. Any fans listening, thank you for listening. You can check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Danny Limelight. ProWrestlingTees.com/Danny Limelight. I have a whole bunch of cool shirts up there. They match all the new J's that drop. I make sure they color coordinated with the J's.
Ooh, sweet.
Yeah, I'm on Cameo now. So cameo.com/Danny Limelight to book me for personal videos or whatever. Just nothing crazy, please. And yeah, I'll see y'all on the flip side.
All right, cool. This is Dominic DeAngelo, WrestleZone. You can follow me on Twitter at Dominic DeAngelo. Follow WrestleZone on Twitter at WrestleZone.com. Go to WrestleZone.com for all your wrestling news needs. Follow 2 Dynamite Dudes at 2 Dynamite Dudes, number 2 Dynamite Dudes. Marcus and I, we cover AEW Dynamite every week, so tune in. So we give our recaps, and it's a pleasure to have Danny Limelight here.
Tune in to AEW Dynamite. Tune in to New Japan Strong, and I'll see y'all, mi gente.
All right, thanks, guys.